Welcome to the Feisworld podcast, engaging conversations that cross the boundaries between business, art, and the digital world.
It was a culture of recovery and stimulants, and that's a sick animal. My right is to go to sleep happy and to wake up vibrant and confident that every possibility on exploring what life's about is mine. I don't have to pay rent for that, tax for that, none of that. It's mine. I believe that there's billions being spent on making sure people are miserable in order for other people to feel, in contrast to that, to feel special. Like smiling is an exclusivity. If you can only make it exclusive if everybody else is crying. I was given this intelligence and this strength for service. And only when I'm in service do I realize my reality. See, I don't have any success. I'm just here. What gives me a buzz is being surrounded with other healthy people that are here too. You can either choose to keep people afloat and be surrounded with little boats with people having a great time, or be the only yacht in the desert. I hate the models that deform human beings. That's what I'm at war with. Those behaviors and protocols that have seeped into our behavior that we hang on to and call it culture, that ruins the art, the flexibility, and the fluidity of human beings. I'm at war with that.
Hello everyone, I can't believe I'm saying this, but welcome to episode number 101 of the Feisworld podcast. This is your host, Fei Wu. Episode 100 was a breakthrough for us. 2.5 years into the making, 100 conversations later, we have learned a lot of lessons along the way. I cannot wait to share some of them with you in a mini episode soon. With this new milestone, we relaunched our brand and a new website to help you more easily engage with Feisworld content. Drop us a note on the blog or social media. We would love to hear from you. Today, I am joined by Johnny Bang Reilly. Based in Holland, Johnny is a transient poet, a voiceover artist, and a father. Every day, he works to find his natural vibrancy and vitality and supports others in finding their own. He's true to himself and to the people he connects with through his words. This episode does contain strong and explicit language, so please plan accordingly. If you're around children or if you're at work, a headphone is recommended. Without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Johnny Bang Reilly.
But believe it or not, going from really having found out about you to my producer, whose name is Adam Leffert, he was watching your interview with Brian Rose, I believe, London Real, and we were completely hooked. So we ended up watching the video again, and later that night, I think I probably spent 3 to 4 hours watching all your YouTube videos, and it's absolutely incredible. So we're both very touched by your work, by your integrity and compassion. So could you tell me a little bit about sort of how that got started? Because I read on your About page that people approached you to write stories, letters, and you even worked with a homeless woman. And how did they find you?
But then I just, I'm not too sure. I just end up meeting these people, and then I found out through trial and error that there are ways of living that are really polluting, and there are ways of living that allow you a life that makes you not question what life's about. I was always questioning what it was about, because I was dissatisfied. I was like, is this it? You know what I mean? It was just, it's kind of, it was a culture of recovery and stimulants, and that's a sick animal. You know what I mean? And I'm like, obviously there's a point where we're at our most organic and most powerful, because obviously on a microscopic level there was so much power there that allowed us to grow into these giant bodies. All the information and all the energy was there. But once we got here and out of the realm of where the protocol of nature was looking after us, other people's cultures, i.e. the conquering people and what they, because the reality is not really as we know it. It's the isms and schisms of the conquering people that rule the country that we were born in. And I had to sift through all of that, because those shoes never fit me. They caused me a lot of mental fallout. I was disgruntled, but I just had this fight in me that was like, I'm not going to implode like everybody else around me. I'm going to keep fighting until I get what I'm worth, what is my right. And my right is to go to sleep happy and to wake up vibrant and confident that every possibility on exploring what life's about is mine. I don't have to pay rent for that, tax for that, none of that. It's mine. And when I was younger, I broke the law. You know what I mean? On my way to being free. I don't know how the hell that becomes a criminal offense. You know what I mean? And, if I had some money and I was hungry, I wasn't going to feed somebody I don't know 40% before I put it in my belly. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If I've got anything left after I've got my rights, then you have to tell me why you want my taxes. And then I'll say, for what? For the poor? So no, for me and new tires on my Rolls Royce. Well, then you're not getting it. You know what I mean? I don't know where anywhere in nature where that's a law that everything trickles up, everything trickles down. Mm-hmm. We look after the weak. So I spent a lot of my time and energy being self-harming by hating the brutes. And now I spend my time ignoring the brutes and loving the poor. And I do that aggressively to get the brutes back, because every person that I can help not be a victim of them, I'm winning. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's many. There's many that their protocol and their programs were supposed to kill, and I whispered in their ear, and they didn't kill them.
Wow. It's, the way you speak is very poetic, and I know you're a poet, but I wonder
That's a nice word. I'm just a mixture of a Jamaican father and an Irish mother. And I'm a griot. Poet is when I look at the definition of that, I'm like, it's too thin. You know what I mean? I like to record my environment for historical reasons, the truth. And while I'm doing it, why shouldn't I feel good? So therefore, cadence and rhythm makes the process a little bit nicer. Also allows me to remember a lot of stuff. But I try to make sure it's facts about me and my environment, my particular take on it. While I was doing that, when I lifted my head up, there was a lot of other people in the room saying, and us. Us too. You know what I mean? Who am I to say, yeah, us? That's the problem a lot of artists make. You know, us, we. Now, these are your experiences. If somebody comes and tells you, yeah, that's me too, then you have a right to say us. But they have to sanction you. But, you know, people sit in their little microscopic dot on the planet and go, we. You haven't met everybody to say we. You know what I mean? So, but I'm just trying to be. I've got young children, and it's really simple. The reason why I try to create patterns and food stacks and patterns of thinking and moving, sleeping, manner patterns that allow my nervous system to not kill me, for it not to be alarmed, that it exasperates my glands and my filtration system, that I end up having a chemical hand around my own throat. And I've got young children, and I want to stay around them a lot and long, you know, and they like me.
I'm sure they do. You're fascinating.
So I find them more fascinated than me. I'm just copying them. I'm a boot.
What have you copied? What have you learned from your
Their
young
innocence,
kids?
their playfulness, you know what I mean? I haven't learned to smile as much as them yet. People are encouraging me because they say I have a wonderful smile, and I stopped smiling because people used to tell me I had an ugly smile because it was too wide. Without I just regard those people as devils that liked me to be miserable. I remember seeing a film once called The Mission with Robert De Niro. Like these rich, so-called holier-than-thou people that gave themselves a religion that allowed them their cognitive dissonance, and say that we're not evil, everybody else is a pagan and a barbarian and an ape, right? And they had this assassin, and they said, those people that don't live by our protocol are happy. And we're trying to be exclusive and trying to tell the world that our protocol is the only way to be happy. And these naked people running around in the jungle are laughing. Go and kill their children and give them misery. That way we can keep our protocol as being, this is the only way you can be happy. And that little part that I think was in that movie or in my dream is happening on a global scale. You know what I mean? If I believe that there's billions being spent on making sure people are miserable in order for other people to feel in a contrast to that, to feel special, like smiling is an exclusivity. But you can only make it exclusive if everybody else is crying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm going to die anyway. And sometimes people get killed for making it less exclusive to be happy. So I'm like, I can't do anything about that. But when you put one in my head, I'm going to be smiling. For sure. You know what I mean? So I'm all about this, right? I do this by making sure that everybody knows how to be a doctor to themselves and take their hands out of drug dealers. Most doctors today are not doctors. They don't teach you how your anatomy works. They don't even know. When I went to go and see a doctor and said I felt suicidal, the woman never looked away from the computer screen, and she said, without even looking at me, "Do you want some drugs?"
Yeah.
I said, "No, I want to be happy. Tell me what's wrong, what's going on in my body. My unhappiness is an alarm signal. It's a good function of the body."
How long ago was that?
Years ago. Well, I was in my late 30s, 40s, something like that. But yeah. So I'm just, people should learn how to heal themselves. So that they, this crazy behavior that happens where you just feel like there's a blockage and you're not flowing. So you go, okay, let me cut my breasts open and put plastic in. That work? Nope. Okay, let me pump my lips up like a car tire. That work? No. Okay, let me put 2 pillows in my anus. No, that doesn't work. You know what I mean? Let me split my tongue in half. That makes me happy. It doesn't stop. And all you need to do is eat a type of diet that allows your kidneys to work. When your kidneys basically cleans up the sewage system, then the eyes brighten up, smile comes, skin shines. Don't need to put stuff on anymore.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's real simple. If you look at medicine and food, it's all stimulant and suppressant based. You know what I mean? Let me suppress your pain so you don't feel it. You know what I mean? Or if you feel lethargic because your sewage system is backed up, so nothing's flowing, you can't get energy to yourself, drink a Red Bull. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that stuff comes from bull sperm. Do you know what I mean? Turin is I don't know what language it is, but it means Taurus, like bull, for a reason.
I never thought about that before. You do pay attention, close attention to a lot of things, I must say.
I have to because that's what they need us to do, is not pay attention. You know what I mean? Some of the colorants and stuff like that, they're in the foods that we're eating, come from like the piss glands from insects and shit.
It's true. When I do pay close attention to the things I drink, I eat, and so many words, and honestly, I never learned. And if you bother to look them up on Google and look at the side effects, it's really quite scary. And part of what I learned from you, kind of almost by accident, is how much you care about the poor and how to. I started Googling right before the interview. How do people with low income eat a satisfying and healthy meal?
Wow.
Yeah. And the articles, believe it or not, first of all, they're relatively limited. There are half of the articles I did not agree with. It's about being low income. It's not about just rich people spending less money and so forth and so on. And there's another abstract, like white paper on this whole issue, who's gonna read that, and especially people who are not as educated, and that paper will deliver absolutely no substantial information to them. So I would love to hear your take on that. And you look very healthy.
Okay, imagine we all have access to the internet. So, we're spending most of our money on bills. And you know that if you look at slavery, you look at the diets of certain cultures where they're like seasoning and boiling pig's ears to eat. You know what I mean? You can pretty much guess what they were thrown, what scraps were thrown to them as people. And that just became their culture. And if it's still in their food things, it means this the slavery, that they were free from slavery very recently, because the food's still there. It's still in their culture. They still prepare it in the same way. You know, I've got Jamaican friends that still eat saltfish, and that was when we didn't have fridges. So why are you still eating the fish with salt in it? You know, like kept in salt. So these people, you know, a lot of us now, we have access to media. Imagine somebody has got some kids and they happen to come across something about your health is bad. You know what I mean? You're being poisoned. And they read all the information. They go, right, I'm going to do something about this. And they start walking towards the health food store and they see the happy hippies sitting inside. But as they walk in, the prices say, fuck off, not for you. You know what I mean? And like, you've got these jolly things online and God bless you and welcome and being all fucking lovely, right? And then they go, I love you and take care of yourselves. And then you go, you really need a detox, and they frighten the life out of you with facts, right? And then you go, you know, and don't trust any other company. I've researched all the herbs have got no metals or magnet or mercury in them, so you won't get poisoned, and don't, you know, take my supplement so your kids won't die. So then you click on the thing, and it's like, you got to take this 14-day course, and it costs you 1,400 and something fucking euros.
Yeah.
So you go, okay, let me just go back to dying then. But now you're full of, now you're not blissfully ignorant anymore, right? So now the food that was on the plate is terrifying you, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me when I discovered it. I'm lucky that I do some voiceovers which are quite lucrative, right? So I'm able to afford some of these things. But you know the only thing I can afford from the health food store? Spinach. Organic spinach. The rest of it, I have to buy the fruit that I live in. I have to buy from the average store, which wasn't grown in mineral-rich soil. So it's mostly just fucking water. There's no minerals in it. So I have to supplement with moringa. And thank God there are some companies. And if they sponsor, if one of them wants to sponsor me, then I say, right, everybody I put to you, you've got to give them their first. We've got to set up. You've got to be able to give away a certain amount of these things for free. But none of them do. You know, I've seen these quacks on the internet, and they read out and they go, oh, you know, I'm dying, and then the guy goes, for camera's sake, all right, you call one of my assistants right now, and we'll take care of you. But I know when that phone call goes in, they're not going to get the supplements or what they need for free. It's the same as when you turn up, you know, and you go, I'm dying of cancer, and they go, well, let me just check your insurance. Nah, I think you have to stay at home and die. Yeah, I definitely want to find ways around that, for sure. You know, I've got an auntie, you know, that they basically sent her home and gave her an automated morphine machine, which obviously when somebody is out of their mind and pain, they're going to keep pressing the thing like crazy. And you just step back and go, well, you know, she killed herself. Nothing to do with me. But you knew psychologically you were setting up for that. It's the same as running into a room where there's a woman in the pains of labor and should be left a little bit longer to go through a process so she can have a natural birth. Right? But you get paid per patient. So you go in there and go, oh, you know, the baby's under stress and could, because that's legal, could cause it brain damage. And the woman goes, okay, what do you want? Okay, cesarean then. You sign this. And of course she's going to sign it. But is she right to sign it? What if somebody else was in the room and whispering in the other ear and going, actually, you'd be all right? You know, those people, that alternative information is not allowed in the room. And that's what I'm about. I'm allowed in the room. And Facebook doesn't push me. Do you know what I mean? And YouTube won't push me because of my message. I see the hits I get on there, and I know a lot more people hit me up than the hits that are registered on those things. I know for sure. I mean, but I'll get around that because I'll draw people to it by other work I do outside of their formats, and people will come and look for me.
I think one of the reasons that people do find your message resonating, and I was going to say that one of the reasons for all your videos to have resonated with me so much, Carved in Mayhem, one of my favorites probably, I would say, is Hope. Hope is a drug that's homegrown for free.
Yeah.
And your message has resonated with me at a really, really deep level because, my pain was real to me. My suffering was what I knew. And your message is very inclusive. So people say, wow, it's inspiring. You lighten my day.
I don't have a right to be a man with testosterone if I'm not caring about the weak. That makes me a man. If I'm only caring about the fortunate, I'm useless. I was given this intelligence and this strength for service. And only when I'm in service do I realize my reality. Other than that, I'm just a fucking consumer. A dustbin for these people to dump their trash into and go, ha ha ha, less fortunate than me. Wasted his money. I don't want that to happen. You know what I mean? I sit in business class when I travel because of the work that I do. And I love that they look at the air stewardess and go, he's in the wrong seat. And I travel the whole journey and I watch them having to eat and I don't eat. And I always say to people, they ask me, how do you know when you're really healthy? And I say that when you choose not to eat, you don't panic. That means your diet's on point. I eat every 2 days. There's no difference in my energy at all, because when I do eat, I don't eat for pleasure. Life is pleasure. I eat for fuel. And you don't really need much fuel. You just need to get stuff out of the way. Fuel comes from your soul. I don't need stimulants. How do you think I found my way to the egg, fighting off a million other sperms that wanted that opportunity? You know what I mean? I didn't have an energy drink or pop pills. I was born with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just have to get the shit out of the way that subdues it. And that's the key. But there's no money in that, and you can't copyright that.
What do you eat every other day? I'm really intrigued now. Is today your eating day or non-eating day?
Today's my fasting day.
Okay.
And it's dry fast, nil by mouth. And sometimes I've done 48 hours before and trained after 48 hours, and I never felt greater, more alive, and listening to my body adjusting and conserving. And even, as the fast, like in the summer, it's even longer. And my voice starts getting more quiet. Not because I want it to, it just does. And I'm just watching all my friends, all of my inner organs going, got you, man. They're just amazing dance troupe. You know what I mean? And it's brilliant. And they're all my buddies. They've been there since I was born. These are my friends. You know what I mean? And when you disassociate yourself with your best friend, your being, when you need, I'm alone, I need friends. You're surrounded with friends. Your skin's your best buddy. Your eyes, your eyelids are blinking without your permission or even consciousness. You don't even have to. They're lubricating your eyes and they're going, I got you, until we decide to stop. You know what I mean? It's I'm not John even. I just do that for the communication's sake. I don't know what my name is. In Arabic, it's Yahya. And I like that because it means life. What it means is this: you're born,
Mm-hmm.
you're alive,
Mm-hmm.
you make some noise, and then you're gone.
Oh.
It's very simple. I'm sorry it's not like poetic, you know what I mean? But that's
No, it's
basically
true.
that's basically it. We make a bag of noise. We all take turns and going, I'm here. That's what all our language is really about.
Mm-hmm.
I watch people in conversation, I'm known in the town that I live in to go out and sit in busy nightclubs with a pen and paper and just sit there laughing because I know I'm looking at the symptoms.
Mm.
People dancing around their bag. Somebody goes off to the toilet, and then people are talking behind their back to jostle up to get closer to the popular one, and all of that. And sometimes I've been caught by other kids who like were sitting there for ages. They told me, watching me laughing, and they were entertained by me laughing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not laughing at people. It's funny how we compensate. It's cute. It's as cute as my child trying to compensate for her lack of power at the moment. We are the most amazing friend that we've ever met. I've taken people to mirrors and say, who are you? And they go, and they tell me their name. I find that bizarre, no matter what age they are. You know, who are you? David. No, that's your name. Who are you? And then they go, and I say, see how dangerous that is?
Yeah.
You've been given tags, and when you take the tags away, there's no information.
Yeah.
Nothing. I said, like, let me tell you who you are. Your eyes, your nose, your skin, your teeth, your saliva, your glands, your anatomy, your love. You know what I mean? And we can go on. And that's a lot more than Dave, isn't it? If you come from behind the little tags that you've got, it becomes more enriched. I always say to people, do you love yourself? And they say, yeah. And I say, do you have a book on nutrition? No. Do you have a book on anatomy about how it works and what it best responds to? No. Now tell me again you love yourself. Because you've got an instruction book for your video recorder, and you definitely looked at the instructions before you turned your phone on, and you read how the apps work, so your phone don't break. But this massive, beautiful circuitry, you just, I'll let him decide. Tell me what I eat, stranger.
It's not, I know part of that is metaphorical, but it's true. I think there's so much to say when people listen. See, this is something that people don't understand is on one hand, you do have to break down a certain concept and tell a story in 30 seconds or to kind of describe it. Dave's name doesn't have to be Dave. It just, a lot of us walk through life that way, not thinking. And I'm privileged enough I have left my job more than a year ago, a very lucrative job, that I'm sure the moment I left, they probably received 1,000 applicants. And people were calling me stupid and crazy and a lot of things. And now I'm a lot happier. I knew my burn rate. I don't really need all that much money, and I'm making more than I did before. And I'm transforming or utilizing everything I do in my consulting business to do this. I hire the producer, I market this content, and this content isn't for everybody. And, but it's important to me for this storytelling. So when you say that people either sort of love your content or hate your content, and last night I was watching Abstract, which is a new documentary series on Netflix about designers, and I believe his name is Tinker Hatfield, the designer for Nike. He said, if your work isn't loved and hated by other people, you really haven't done much at all, you know? And I think that's true, that the kind of extremists who find your work very attractive, you know?
You know what I mean? I hear a lot of people that so-called famous people say that, you know, I must be doing something right because I'm hated by people. You're not doing something right, and you shouldn't be happy about that, because those people that are hating you are missing the party. Because all the people that really like you are enjoying your success. See, I don't have any success. I'm just here. What gives me a buzz is being surrounded with other healthy people that are here too. You can either choose to keep people afloat and be surrounded with little boats with people having a great time, or be the only yacht in the desert. Right? I choose to just keep people afloat, man. I want to be wrong, so I can go through the process of learning and then go, yeah, I get it. That process. I don't want to be right. That's dull. I know everything. So I want to go and be completely ignorant about how to live where you live, and how to climb that tree, and teach me how to walk through this forest, and don't eat that, you're going to fucking die, and eat that, you're going to be strong. I want to do all that. Some people just want to be specialists and go live in their little golden cages and go, I don't want to go out there because I might be wrong. I want to stay here. And I'm like, who really lives in the ghetto then? Because that's ghetto. You in your gated community, going to the same restaurant, eating the same food, going to the same place on holiday, getting the same, you know, look, you live in London, you live in Holland, right? And then you go to Jamaica and you go to a resort and drink the same beer and eat the same food. You've just hopped into the same, you've just been transported from one prison to another one.
Yeah.
And internally, whether you're in Jamaica or London, your glands and your kidneys don't know they're in a different place. They're in the same old sewage dump. None of you have been on holiday because your habits haven't changed. Going on holiday is fasting. That's a vacation. Not just for you, for every single molecule in your body.
It's true, even to say that the biggest, it sounds kind of funny, work is one thing, but even say dealing with our moms, you know, as a daughter, dealing with any daughter, as I've spoken with, you know, my mom's currently living with me, and she's behaving, what's so called, and she had a lot of things that she didn't quite agree with me, and I finally reached a state to say, you know what, I can never control what she does or says, and what I control is me. So the only thing I can do is whether she's praising me or she's criticizing me, and I'm going to be me. So
there's a difficult process of when you start to learn a different life pattern, because our parents, God bless them, right, have taken on protocols and ways of living that they call culture, that will pass down from people that are not very friendly to human beings. And they've taken it on because that's all they knew. So they live in these exasperated states. But now we've traveled a lot more. So then we get to see comparisons with people that have different protocols, that are healthier and happier than us. And then we have to make that choice of going, you know what? I'm dumping your shit. It doesn't mean I'm not your child anymore. I'm just dumping the protocol, which is not you. I love you. I just don't like your patterns. What do you mean? I'm stupid? Yeah, I'm your child, and everything about me says that you were stupid. I'm sorry about that. But you had me to be better than you. That's why I'm called a new generation. I'm here to generate more energy. I'm supposed to be a better version of you. Don't be jealous of my youth and put your restrictions on me just because you've realized through me that your life has really been restricted in comparison with mine.
Yes.
Don't become an enemy to me. You're my parent. Don't be jealous of my freedom. I'm the escape pod from the crashing spaceship. When you were there praying when you were younger, or when your life is really shit, you went, I really hope it's better. It doesn't necessarily come where your life changes around, but you split into a new human being, and that human being comes out of your womb, and there's the answer to your prayer. That you gets a better life. My daughter is a version of me without a penis. You know what I mean? And I'm going to allow her to be what I prayed about when I was desperate, when I was a child going, I wish life wasn't like this. And she's going to be it. She's getting everything Johnny should have got. And that's why I survived those beatings that would have killed another kid. And some of them, there were some serious accidents that could have happened. You know what I mean? And I remember being drowned in a bath by my mother. And which was preceded with sitting in a freezing cold bath, because I remember speaking to my stepfather, and we were walking around this park in Greenwich. And because we had a blood test, you know, I got older and realized, you know, it was like, I wasn't stupid. I'm like, I'm not your kid, man. You know what I mean? Let's have a DNA test. And, you know, it wasn't. And then he was like really busted up because, are you in pain? You know, because now you know I'm not your dad. And I'm like, I'm really happy that we don't have the same genes, because you're a fat, racist alcoholic. All right? So I'm really happy. I just feel sorry for the kids that are yours. All right? I get to escape this shit. Right? So, but he was sitting there, and I remember him sitting there, and he was moving his knees like this when he was reminiscing on my childhood. And that physical action is what children do when they're stressed. And I was like, wow, the thoughts that you're about to spit out of your mouth are causing your body to react like this. So I kind of braced myself. And he goes, I really feel guilty that I couldn't protect you more. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, I would come from work and like see the other kids, and I'm like, where's Johnny? And then your mother would turn and goes, he was getting on my nerves, and he wouldn't be quiet because I'm creative. I was a creative. I want to explore. And of course, my mother just wanted everybody to sit down and be still, especially me, like a good slave. You know, you sit, you don't. That's from slavery. Sit, don't speak, behave, and then whipping you on behalf of the public. Don't embarrass me. That's like being afraid that the slave master won't like it. You know what I mean? So we subjugate our children. We see it all over America. I'm gonna whoop your ass. That's from slavery. You don't do that to your children, right? Where is he? He's in the bath. And then he described coming to the bathroom and I'm sitting there like this, blue, because she sat me in a freezing cold bath. And that's where I had to stay. You know what I mean? And that was her favorite trick. But, you know, now I realize that I've studied that she just made my immune system stronger. You know what I mean? But as a kid that was given these protocols that say that this not supposed to happen to a child, those protocols made me go, this not supposed to happen to me, and made it stressful. After a while, I started to accept it. Sometimes I would even play. Wow. And but one particular time, she was hitting me with a thing called a Reilly. It's like a hockey stick. Oh, and she was from like this.
Oh, she.
You know what I mean? And I just learned to roll with it, so that because if I stayed still, it would hurt, you know. So I would just roll with it. And I just remember that I didn't like the noise it made inside my skull, because you hear it inside your own head. Bonk, bonk, bonk. It's a strange noise, and I would see lights on my bottom eyelids. And sometimes the floor would go sideways. I now realize from fighting that when you get knocked out, you don't fall to the floor falls to you, and you're like, what's that? Bang! And then you just hit the floor. because I'm disorientated. And so I realized now that I'm older that I was getting concussed, and never was taken to a doctor for that. Today you would take your kids to a doctor for that. I was sent to bed. I could have died in my sleep.
Yeah.
But she was hitting me with this Reilly, and then she was like, had the idea of drowning me. And I just remember she was carrying my little brother at the time, and I remember being out of the bath on the floor and her against the wall holding her stomach, and I ran out, and she said that I just got the strength to jump up in the air and kick her. You know what I mean? And then I ran out on the street naked, and I ran to a police station, ran in the door, Willesden police station, and said, put me in the children's home, because she always used to threaten me that I'm going to put you in a home. So as a child, I look at this poetry, and I'm going, this kid ran down the street naked, ran into a police station. You can imagine the poor sergeant sitting there, seeing this little brown body run into the place. Put me in a children's home. You know what I mean? And then I was like given something to wear and taken back to the home. And then them talking to my mother, and then me thinking I've got support now, you know what I mean? And being a little bit cocky. You know what I mean? You can't hurt me anymore. And they're like talking to them, and then the policeman taking me into the other room and going, if she calls me again, you're going to be in trouble. And I was like, huh? It's not supposed to work like that. Yeah. Why am I being chastised? If she calls me again, you're going to be... I can almost see how fat the guy was. I remember that. It's a blur of what his actual face was like, but I remember how fat he was. You're going to be in trouble. And then as soon as they left, I remember sitting there in my little dressing gown, and then she went, go and run another bath, and smiled. I just ran out the door and ran to a local park and slept there. And then I was found by two lovers that were in the park making out. And the girl would walk past, and she was like, I heard them talking, and she goes, that's a little boy. And then she was holding me, and she was going, I'm going to take you home with me. And I was going, yeah, I want to go and live at your house. And she was like that. And then the police came, and she was like, they didn't come to me. And she was like, no. And they told the two people off because they shouldn't have been in the park, told them to go away, and then took me home again.
How old were you at the time?
I was young, man.
Like 4 or 5?
I was living in Warm Lane at the time, and at that time I was at junior school, so I could have been about between 6, 7, 8, something like that. But I look at that kid and I'm going, you withstood the cold. I remember sleeping in like abandoned cars with some of the windows broken, and keeping myself curled up. And then, you know, periodically dropping off, but then waking up because of the cold and looking at the window and it was iced. And I'm like, you're tough. You know what I mean? I look at that kid and I'm like, you're tough. But, you know, there's echoes of it now because I can't stand the cold now. I can't. Winter comes, I don't go out. I can't stand it. You know what I mean? Unless it's snowing. If it's snowing, I'm good. But if it's that rain and windy, yeah, forget that. You're getting me out the house, man. Forget it.
Isn't it crazy that you look back to that 6, 7, 8-year-old of yourself and thinking everything that you experience now in comparison, in a way it's easier, it's more manageable, and in a way that, I don't know, do you feel almost invincible knowing that you had lived through that?
I think when I was like in my early 20s and stuff, yeah, pretty much did. Because I don't know, I have a theory that I must, you know, testosterone is produced. It's primarily to hunt and fight. And I think if you're in a dangerous environment when you're young, you produce it a lot earlier than other males. and you'll probably produce a lot more of it because nature has a way of balancing things out. So if you look at, I remember being in the mosque with brothers that just came from Afghanistan, and I'm a man and I felt like a boy next to them. Just even the way their gait of the way they stand is just, their grounding is, their bones are better. You know what I mean? And so I always felt that all the men that were around me, or boys that were around me, were like girls in comparison, you know? And then, you know, I got some wrong advice from older boys, and it says, you know, let's prey on the weak. And it was easy. And then I found value in that because I was patted on the back for taking people's stuff and, you know what I mean, intimidating people and talking to their women and in front of them, and they can't do anything about it. And, you know, I used all of these negative ways to readjust and to say, yeah, I'm not vulnerable, I'm tough. But I was exasperating it because the subliminal of that is, the more I was addicted to that, is the more I was compensating for something, and the elephant in the room, which was vulnerability. You know what I mean? So you're actually more secure when you don't do any of that and have no need to do any of that. And that's where I'm at now. It's young guys walk up to me because I train, and they're like, do you want to spar with me? And I was like, why? So maybe by chance you can get that shot that says, oh, I made him wobble. I said that I'd be a fool if I give you that opportunity, but I will overlook the way you move and try to give you some pointers in making your craft a little bit better. But you're not going to fight with me. I have nothing to prove. I'm 52 years old. You know what I mean? I've done it all.
I'm so glad you brought up your childhood, and origin stories is a really big part of who you are, clearly in this case. And you wrote, you know, all the cruelty shit that people did, or I still make people cry when I write poems. And, you know, given the state that you are now today, what still makes you cry? What makes you emotional in
I
particular?
cried yesterday.
What happened?
I was just...
Yeah.
I was trying to use language to tell my daughter I'm going to cry now. I was trying to use language to express how much to my daughter I love her. And she doesn't deserve the words, she deserves the tears. So that's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I'm trying to express love, I get frustrated with words. You know, so love deserves to be expressed with tears. You know what I mean? So there you go.
Wow. Oh, that's very special. How old is your daughter now? She looks very little on videos.
She's 4.
Wow, she's only 4. And you have more than one child?
I'm 14.
Oh, what? You
have 14 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the part of about validating your manhood is producing children. I'm still making up for to try and be here for them now, and it's working because I'm offering so much more wealth to them now. Before then, I produced them, but I definitely wasn't ready to be a father. I had no wisdom. I was a brute. You know what I mean? I wasn't a child of good human beings or a good country. I was a child of a protocol that's based in brutality, that applauds brutality. There's a reason why Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor are millionaires. because we like brutality. There's a reason why we weren't just satisfied with boxing with big gloves on and stuff like that. It was only a matter of time before we go, you know what, smaller gloves, and then elbows, and then strangulation, and then breaking limbs, and you know, the type of injuries that people get in MMA, we're desensitized to. If you saw pictures like that when I was a kid of that amount of blood, no, I'm not going to say his name. There was a fighter, and he did a flying knee into this other guy's forehead and crushed his forehead. Like a circular dent in the guy's cranium. Is that cranium? In his forehead. And the only thing was discussed was what a magnificent blow. You know what I mean? And then the guy takes a selfie of himself for Instagram of the dent in his forehead with a smile. You know, that's where we're at. What is the difference between us now and when we were in diapers? Who devalued us to that point? Because, yeah, look, I've got a dent in my head. You know, you disfigured me. What would your mum think? My child walked in here, and my daughter's obsessed with fighting. I don't think, it's not with violence. It's the movement of it she likes. The chess game. You know what I mean? But I'm never going to send her into a sport that encourages head blows.
It's, in a way, I guess it's not unexpected that you not only take care of, you really take care of your family as well as your friends and be that wisdom, because, you know, when people are at the top, sometimes they don't think anything would happen to them. In a way, you know, many people are guilty of, oh, I'm young and healthy, you know, death is optional, right? And not even that is how we die as well.
When you got a full tank of petrol, if you look at young people, they put their foot down and they race. Yeah. Watch them when the petrol gets low on the gauge. They drive more careful, right? Of course, they're young. They got their foot down. They think the petrol is going to last forever. When you're young, all you do is think about life, because that's what you are, life. When you get older, you think about death, because you can feel there's hardly any petrol in the tank. So you start conserving. This is a choice to be good, trust me. This is a choice to be a good person, because it's logical. It's logical. And wouldn't I be a slave if I was still following the protocols of these motherfuckers that warped my behavior as an innocent child? I'd still be giving over my power to those unseen people who still pulling my strings. All those cruel people. I'm going to be like one of them suckers on death row going, yeah, you know, because I was abused at school, I abused everybody else. So those people are still pulling your strings. Now you're killing people in jail. Then people are still, fuck that. I'm snipping. That shit's gone. I will see them people tomorrow and say, I'm not doing life in prison because of you. And I'm a happy person. And it's got nothing to do with you why I'm happy. I mean, most of the people I went to school with look like a mess right now. I mean, the real divide needs to be healthy and unhealthy. Yeah. That's all that matters. Healthy and unhealthy. Because if you know what I mean, if it ever gets to a point, God forbid, that we have to fight for our children, because, you know, people just wake up to a point and go, you know what, my children are not your goyim. You know, they're not here to be the tapestry on your carpet for you to walk on and dance around in your living rooms where you don't work every day, but you take all. My child spends their life going from home to work, and then you give them the weekend to consume your shitty products, and then back to work while you're fanning yourself in your back gardens with nice deer roaming around the place. What makes your kid better than mine? My kids have got to go to war and yours don't. No, I'm going to fight you if you come and get my children to do that. For what? For more subjugation? For more class divide? Is that what I'm putting on fatigues for? Is that what I'm putting a badge on my chest for and herding the people? I become a policeman and herd them for you. For what? Oh, man. Our children play together or I'm fighting you. You know what I mean? Now, if we ever come to that point where we have to fight, how the hell are you going to do that when you're eating the poison of your enemy? It's designed to make sure that if you do fight, it's going to last an afternoon. It ain't going to last 20 years. That's what it's going to take. It's going to last an afternoon. You're going to loot some shit around your own area and then go back and play PlayStation. It's a joke. So I'm just like, you know what? It's not time to fight these people yet. Let's get healthy. Let's just be healthy. Let's get healthy and not give a fuck.
Healthy and happy and...
Yeah. Just so they can be happy. Keep all your things. I don't care about your things. But I want you to be happy. Because you all ain't happy. I can ask your kidneys and you can smile as much as you want and put all the shiny stuff on your face that says you're vibrant. You can do all that as much as you want. But your skin will tell me something else. Color of your toenails will tell me something else. Stick your tongue out and let me have a look at your tongue. You're not happy, I know. Now let me take care of that for you. Because once you start getting like that, then things will change. And when things change, you won't have any influence over little girls anymore. But the more I hate on you, is the more you're going to do that shit to get me back. You know what I mean? I don't want to hate on you. I want to give you, I don't want to love you either. I just want to guide you towards loving yourself.
Yeah.
I'm the Trojan horse, man. I'm in the Trojan horse. I'm in the horse. I want to glide my way into all of these people's lives and show them just little ways of simple little reasons why you're behaving like assholes. Simple. There's no need for it. Trust me. You can keep all your stuff. Just be healthy.
How would you fix them? How would you fix them? What would you say to them?
First of all, first of all, you have to get into a discussion and let them tell you what they think happiness is, and then prove to them with facts that they're not. Okay? And let's not eat for a day. And let's see if you can hold your super self together. See if you're not cranky. And see if you can still be intelligent. See if you don't make any spelling mistakes. See if you can hold your emotions together. Because if your food and your luxury and your money is doing all that for you, you should be able to not eat. Because isn't that the meaning of having nutrients in your body? That when you don't eat, you don't give a fuck? I would question your lifestyle has made your anatomy not be able to move. And they may just be smarmy about it and go, why I don't need to. I go in my chauffeur-driven car. I've got a personal trainer. What's the function of your body? I don't need to function.
Yeah. When people are wealthy, I happen also to know a number of people who are incredibly wealthy, and I look at their children, and all of them have issues because they assume the wealth will always be there. The support network will always be there. Everything they have will always be there, and it's not true. And I think, happiness, and it's based on sometimes is the ability to survive under any circumstance.
Yeah.
They know they don't have that. They know if they called it, not even the Uber, they don't have, even if you remove one single element, a chef, a personal trainer, if you remove one thing out of their lives that the majority of the world don't have any of, I think they will freak out.
Yeah, they fall to pieces.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. They don't need to do that. Like I said, sometimes, I forget and I use my language wrong and it comes across like I don't like the people. I like people. I see people, everybody in diapers. A pedophile does the most heinous act on the planet. He was or she was a child. The act is a set of ideas and interactions that they've been going through that led them to that action. I hate the models that deform human beings. That's what I'm at war with. Those behaviors and protocols that have seeped into our behavior that we hang on to and call it culture. That ruins, these cookie cutters that ruin the art and the flexibility and the fluidity of human beings. I'm at war with that. And if at the end of it, when I'm fighting it, I may find the guy that's done all that shit, I think eventually I'll just go through all the protocol and meet the devil himself, because I think, you know what I mean, whatever shape he is, you know what I mean, but whatever. He's hiding for a reason. And you know what I mean, but the protocol and the mindset, the jealousy to deform and humiliate human beings, something is enjoying that. Now, first of all, I want to destroy its model, and then I want to find it. And that's the only time I'll let my violence go, because it won't survive. But until then, I'll kill its model, its poetry. I'll find it and I want to kill it. And it's running around in people's heads. And as long as that's only got the airwaves, it has that independent, you know, it's controlling. All I can do is talk in the other ear and create the argument. And walk away and trust that the heart and the immune system goes, that's the model we've been waiting for. And then start the conflict. Because right now, they're afraid of the griots, the poets, so to speak. That have these, I have a beautiful cadence with my voice that you can't keep out of your head. I know the sound of my voice that I was born with. I'm in this position, and it was my school is doing the voiceovers. You know what I mean? I've got like these billion-dollar companies going, please put your voice on our product, otherwise we won't be able to pay our bills. Little me, please put your voice on our product, and I'll have to shut my office down. You know what I mean? And you know what the funny thing is, when they come to me, they go, we don't have much left in our budget. I'm like, really? She said, yeah, because we had to pay first-class flights for the actors, and we had to pay for the director. And I said, you're actually telling me to my face that you're prioritizing who you gave all the money to, and now you've got a little bit of change left. You come and call me, and I'm the one that closes the show for you. No, you need to go back to the bank and get. And I should have been the first priority, because I'm the one that puts the emotion to your dead film. You know, your collected edits of photos. You know what I mean? Without the message. I understand why advertising likes me. I don't advertise. I would never ever give my talents for alcohol or bullshit food. You know what I mean? We do it for clothing, right? People need clothes. But, you know, most people exaggerate their product, and there's something in my voice that they want to use because I sound sincere. I sound real. And that's where I went to school. And when I saw these people falling all over themselves, I mean, grown men, when I'm in the vocal booth, jumping up and down in the room because I've nailed their commercial, because they're like, we're going to get paid. You know? And I'm like, I get it, because these people have a global market, and they've just shown me that I've got a global voice. But nobody owns me. You can't control me. So I can use this voice for who I want. And now I'm using it for the poor people. And that's every human being on the planet. who is not living in the rainforest and knows that leaf does this for my kidneys, that one does that for my heart. That we can't even, you look at the absurdity of this. I'm all over the place right now because I'm getting excited, right? Look at the absurdity of this. We don't know how to sequence our food, when to take it and with what to take it. So you eat a burger, right? And then you drink a cold drink. You know what you've just done to the fats? You've turned them into rubber in your gut. Ever seen oils or whatever drop into cold water? What happens to them? You've just poured this cold drink on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you think, and then what happens is you eat meat, and then you have, afterwards you go, oh, I'm going to have a dessert, and you have fruit. Fruit ferments. So now it's sitting on top of the meat, fermenting. Now it's fermented the meat. Mm-hmm. So your whole food, because of the order that you ate it in, mm-hmm. is now poisoning your anatomy. Absolutely poisoning it. If you would have eaten the fruit first, you'd have prepared your stomach for the meat or whatever, or the fats that you're eating exist.
I'm so glad I asked that question because you're, considering how much you've gone through, you've aged very well. And like you said, your body does not look, I don't think it's fair to say what a 52-year-old body needs to look like. And I think, once you're into fitness, I'm very into martial art. I've been practicing Taekwondo, Kung Fu for 15, 16 years of my life. And you
Crazy.
yeah, I'm a black belt, and I know it's about, people always say, what does that mean? And people who don't
stay a white belt, you'll keep improving.
Exactly. So I think that's how I feel when I was, when I started, when I was much younger, 18, 19, getting a new belt was all I wanted. But that changed now it's like, well, what's the point for me to go for a third degree if I'm, happy with who I am, what I'm still learning? I'm not an 8-year-old. I don't need an indication or certificate to tell me who I am. And, and I know you're a street fighter too, so which is, that's why I'm trying to...
I don't fight anymore. I move. Mm-hmm. It's like if somebody comes to me and says to me their child wants to fight, you need to take that out of the child's vocabulary. You don't want them to even discuss what that word means.
Yeah.
Leave them with love, play, fight. Forget that energy. Move when somebody wants to fight you. There's a difference. Let other people fight. You move. You know what I mean? Let them fight. We don't fight. I move. That's a martial artist. People that fight end up in a fight, their technique's wrong. If you end up in a fight, you're in a controlled situation where you can't move properly, or there's something wrong with your technique. You should never be fighting. Fighting is when you're feeling desperate and you're threatened. I move. Even if you're hitting me, I still regard it as movement.
It's so true. I teach at my Taekwondo school.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little girls, there are a couple of girls, a couple of Indian girls, and a couple of other white girls are just so there. The black girls are the toughest, but they're just a couple of from every group. They're phenomenal. And I love during sparring, you call out one of the girls' name, and all the boys are starting to look down and say, not me. And then a boy gets called out, and he's like, oh, he's so upset.
Let's discuss that, what you just said. Let's discuss that, where you said black girls, white girls. How about we change that to, it's strange, huh? Black girl, white girl, nationality.
Nationality. Yeah, true. And
right? But what if we change that to black body, white body, brown body, yellow body, but all girls.
All girls. Yeah.
Not specific types of girls, just types of bodies.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
It's not like people hate black people. They hate black bodies. There's a difference. They hate black bodies. Now we can discuss. Once you start going people, that argument is a bottomless pit. There's a lot of conjecture. I don't like him because I think he's going to be like this, and I think he's going to be like that. That's your imagination. You know nothing about this person. What you don't like is the body, that shade of body. Let's discuss why you don't like it. Okay, that might be valid, but now I'm going to give you some information about why that body is like that. And why that body being like that is actually beneficial to you. Do you know why? Because they're your grandparents, and if they didn't have that body, you wouldn't fucking be here. You know what I mean?
Racism is something that never made sense to me, you know. And I just, growing up, I grew up in Beijing, China, and where the majority of the population are 100% Chinese. And then I came here when I was just a teenager. And to me, we were ingrained that part of the culture, America, are filled with immigrants. And I must say that when I got here, it was very different because people were very accepting. I went to school up in Maine.
Are you including white people in that word, immigrants?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, white people are immigrants.
Yeah.
You know, and that's everybody.
White bodies, sorry.
What is it?
White bodies.
White bodies, exactly. And I think some of my friends who went to study, including there were a lot of Chinese people who went to study in England. Some chose to study in France and Germany. I think their experiences were quite different than mine. Whereas people who are from those countries, those bodies feel like they've belonged there for a very long time versus, in the U.S., at least where I'm living right now in Massachusetts, New York, this area, to be quite honest, I really have not experienced much of racism at all. But with one scenario when I was at work, and that was nasty, something I'll never forget, but just that one time. But in general, it doesn't make sense to me. Like Donald Trump.
What is racism? I mean, an ism is or an ist is a specialist, right? An ist, like a scientist, right? So you're specializing in race. Specializing in race doesn't hurt anybody. It's the prejudice that hurts people. You know what I mean? Being an expert in your particular race, it's not a problem. I know this is how I operate. Race. What the fuck is that even? There's one race, humans. But being an expert in, I don't even see. This is where we get fucked up using their word magic, because it doesn't make any sense. Racism doesn't make any sense to me. There, if I say it, I'm making it real. It's not real, and this is why I need to learn to fight. I don't need to take on these terms. You know what I mean? There are people with prejudged ideas. Because if once I say racism, I'm caught in their box and I have to argue from that stance, I'm going to lose. I need to know all the rules of that box argument. It's like if you go on a chat show, they set the premise which the argument has to revolve around. Why do you go on there? You're going to lose. You don't know the rules. The guy with the mic knows the rules. You're just puppets in their agenda. And if you shift outside of that, they go, right, they just shut you down, they cut you off. I'm going to set the point of view that we should speak about. They don't want to know that. So I'm not going to talk about racism. That's their model. I'm going to talk about and keep it real open. There are nervous systems that have prejudged negative ideas about other bodies that don't look like theirs. And they're usually all based on fear. Now, my question is, why are you afraid? Why are you afraid you're going to starve if you let that person eat the same quality of food as you? Why are you afraid of the even playing field? Why do you think even if that person is more powerful than you at a particular thing, that it's not going to be anything more than, I can climb this tree, so I'll get your coconuts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why do you think that you're going to go climb the tree and I'm going to keep them all? Why are you thinking like that? You don't know me. Why do you think if I end up having more talent than you at helping your children have a future, which means that my ideas you're going to have to abide by for a while because I've discovered something, because I've taken more time in discovering this thing than you, right? That I'm going to keep it to me and only benefit my kids and starve yours. What makes you think that I'm going to do that to you? Other than the fact you've got 3 fingers pointing back as your index fingers pointing towards me. Because you think I'm like you? I'm not made of the same stuff as you. Do you think if black bodies got in a position where the rest of the world had to rely on them for food, like the Sudan can feed the whole planet, the Sudan, right? If we went to solar energy, who do you think would be what part of the world do you think would be most powerful on the planet?
Africa.
Because you need space and you need sun, right? So if we went to that would become the new Saudi Arabia, because that would be the new oil, solar power. But if we give the Africans power, they're going to enslave us and do all that shit. Do you think we want to do that to our anatomy? Why do you think that your society, people with your body types and your mind models, take so much drugs? 16% of the world's population takes 60% of the drugs. 16% of the world's population consumes 60% of the drugs on the planet.
Many of children, right? Yeah.
Right? What makes you... There's a reason, because of the way your brutality has caused your angelic self, the eyes, the heart, the anatomy, so much stress. Putting people into slavery, being angry, looking down your nose. Your body hates it. Your nervous system hates it. The child in you fucking hates it. It's imprisoned. So you drink alcohol to the point that you've made it part of your staple fucking diet. Closely behind alcohol is a new discovery: stimulants. You consume copious amounts of sugar and coffee just to get out of bed. You don't think that's a knock-on effect of your hatred and bigotry? That's the curse of it. Do you think, as we've been standing here for 400 years watching what's happened to you, that we're going to follow the same fucking model? If we get in a position of power, we're going to look after you, man. Because that's what's good for us. And I'm that African.
And it's true. No, I love talking about food and health because, I think many of us, unfortunately, people even in their 20s and 30s, they just got all this junk in the system and they care. It doesn't matter how beautiful their bodies might look. I even question some of those people with perfect bodies and whatever,
Yeah, but the fact that they have to keep going and maintaining it, because as soon as they stop, it wants to tell the truth. Everything goes like this. My abs are gone after a week.
Yeah, how did that happen? how much information do you consume, and where do you consume them? You seem to know a lot about a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, somebody said to me the other day that if we speak to you about a subject, you would come across like that's all you've ever studied. Like you're a master of that subject. And then you change the subject and ask you about another subject, and you know about that subject as much as the last one we asked you about. You know, I think looking for answers was the reason why I consumed so much stuff. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I can sit in front of the internet probably at least about 15 hours a day consuming information. And I can watch a lecture for 4 hours, no sweat, if I cross my legs, I don't have to move my body. I don't get any aches or pains.
Wow.
You know, and I can just sit and watch. And I have a way of just like dissecting the bullshit. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's bullshit. I just dissect what I don't want. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But really, it's all really simple. But you know, the only thing that bugs me is that everybody's up to something.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to. So as soon as you believe in somebody, because you know, because when you're loving, you're gullible. That goes with being a loving person. Gullibility is the side effect.
Mm-hmm. That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. You're curious. You're not trying to limit what you consume to just a specific category, or you follow a specific person, but you sort of open up your mind, and starting with what I think not only the most basic, but also the most important, which is your body, your mind. And without that, I mean, there's nothing you can do. I mean, there's nothing you can do, or even any decisions you can make at a hospital. So, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
It's very true. I'm just so happy to hear you talk, because rarely you come across people that you've known sometimes your entire life, and you sit there and thinking, please, just for once, just tell the truth. Just tell me how you actually feel. And we have never met in person. And all I've ever consumed so far are your poetry, your videos, and you just come across as super transparent. Like, you know, almost like a baby. You look at the content and you know it's pure. You know?
Because I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid. Mm-hmm. I'm not afraid what you think about what I think. Mm-hmm. So I don't need to edit myself, right, or give you what I think you'll like. Mm-hmm. I couldn't give a shit. Mm-hmm. I'm not. If you don't like me, you must be what am I doing wrong to anybody? I just want to drink some clean water, eat some fruit, and move.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, you're not after anything.
You know what I mean? And you know, I want to sell a couple of sweatshirts, so that I can get up tomorrow morning and talk some more and eat some more fruit. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, if you came right now with a Maybach or whatever bullshit metal house on wheels that somebody wants to put a tag on with advertising, with my voice, somebody with my voice going, this is the shit that will make you feel less inadequate, because that's really the subliminal.
I feel so grateful for what you're doing for the people around you and for people beyond, and especially people in need. So thank you so much, Johnny. Thank you so much. I'll be in touch.
All right, peace.
Peace. Bye.
Hey, it's Faye. I am back for a few words at the end of the show. I hope you enjoy what you heard. You can visit us online at feisworld.com, or social channels such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, also under Feisworld, to keep things simple. I personally review and respond to all the messages. Love to hear from you. Thank you, and lots of hugs. See you next week.
back in high school. Y'all were really about the team. To those who were, you know I know, and your support means everything. About to prove, come from anywhere and become anything. That you can take whatever you love and make it everything. But we're part is bigger than us. We made it everything. You know it's because I wear my word like a wedding ring. Sticking to my creed, put honesty above everything. Cause I ain't been perfect, but at least I got a purpose. Rising stars in my contact list with hippies and we murk shit. Conversations with the greatest. Can't wait to say I made it. Shouts to those who say I helped them get through hard times. You my favorite. Shouts to channels that upload me and the haters that can blow me. And shouts out to a world and system you won't see control me. Blogs that show me love and friends who love what we does. Everyone who sees us hitting the top before it
You're no
comes.
hero, so don't act like it. And please don't treat me like I'm your sidekick. Cause I watch TV, I see how life is.